Before start, I would also like to thank Veljako Milunovic. I have used his paper in preparing this presentation. So this session will be helpful to the research scholars in writing their research papers. Generally we do some experimentation, and then it becomes a question from where I should start, what I should write. And to answer all those questions we have this session. So the first topic is selection of the title. Here we will discuss what should be the title of any research paper. Then the structure of the abstract, what should be the contents of the abstract that we will be discussing. Then we will discuss about the structure of the written paper. So after abstract we have introduction, then literature review, then the proposed methodology, method of experimentation, result analysis, there may be some simulational analysis, and then conclusion and references. So everything will be discussed under the structure of the written paper. And then we will also discuss about what should be the caption of the table or the figure, or in other words how to write the caption for the table or figure. And then based on my experience I will give some suggestion or hints while writing the paper or while the experimentation also. So before writing the paper you may use these suggestions, after and during writing the papers also these suggestions will be useful. So first point is selection of the title. The title should be both didactic and lapidary. So didactic means if someone reads the title of the paper, he must be able to figure out what is the essence of the basic idea and main contribution of the paper without reading our paper. So that is one thing. And another thing is the title will make the reader to think deeply over the philosophy of the contribution. So these things we have to consider while writing the title or selecting the title or framing the title. So the basic idea that must be covered, and what is the main contribution, and this thing everyone should be able to understand without reading our paper. So title should not be like this. So this is one sample title, some issues in memory consistency modeling. So this title looks like that some survey paper is written and people would tend to stay away from this paper. And what will be the consequence of such a bad title? A good idea may not be noticed by the research community, and you will contribute something, but afterwards someone will reinvent the same thing and he will get the credit instead of you. So please remember, while giving the title should be a proper one. So title may be like this. So this is one sample example of the title: a hybrid evolutionary approach to construct optimal decision trees with large data sets. So here this title suggests that large data sets are handled, and what is the objective is to construct the optimal decision tree. So the problem is of constructing optimal decision tree while using the large data sets. And what technique is applied here? A hybrid evolutionary approach. Evolutionary means genetic algorithm like technique is used in combination with the decision tree, so that's why it's a hybrid approach. So the reader can understand that some evolutionary technique is applied in combination with the decision tree to handle the large data sets and for constructing the optimal decision tree. The problem with the large data sets is, as the size of the data set increases, the decision tree becomes bigger. So the size of the decision tree also increases with the size of the data set. And what we have to do is we have to build the optimal decision tree. We don't want the big decision trees. So this is the example of I cannot say a good title, but how the title should be. Next point in the discussion is abstract. So the abstract of the research paper should have these following elements. First is problem statement of research under consideration. So you have to write what problem you are going to handle in your research. A short list of existing solution and what is their drawback from point of view of the above defined problem statement. So whatever problem statement you have, and what are the existing solutions for that problem statement, and what are their advantages, disadvantages, or drawbacks, you can say. Essence of the proposed solution and why it is expected to be better under the same conditions. So we'll just go back to the example of this one. So here the problem statement is handling the problem statement is constructing optimal decision tree on large data sets or using large data sets. So what problem is handled here is construction of the optimal decision trees with the large data set is the problem statement. Of course the problem statement is vast, but I am telling you very small part. Then a short list of existing solutions. So what are the existing solutions to handle the large data sets and constructing the optimal decision tree that are to be mentioned here. Then essence of the proposed solution and why it is expected to be better under same condition. So here essence of the solution. So what is the solution? Solution is to use the genetic algorithm in combination with decision tree to handle the large data set and to construct the optimal decision tree. So essence of the proposed solution is hybridization of genetic algorithm and decision tree, and why it is expected to be better. The genetic algorithm performs global search, the decision tree performs local search. So local solution may not be a perfect solution, may not be an optimal solution, but when you use the global search method, then it is expected that you may get the optimal solution. So you have to write it here as a essence why it is expected to be better under the same condition. Then the next point is what type of analysis was done to show that the proposed solution is really better than any of the existing one from both performance and complexity point of view. So here you have to write what experimentation you have done with which method, which technique you have applied, and what are the performance readings you have taken, and how that is to be written in the abstract in very short. Then next point is what are the major numerical highlights of the analysis. So the last point is how much performance improvement you have got, that is to be written in the numbers. So you can write in terms of percentage improvement in the performance. So previously the performance was 80%, now our method gives 82, 83 or maybe 85% or whatever the improvement, that is to be mentioned here. Abstract size. Now the abstract size is generally specified by the conference or journal where you have to send the paper. So generally whenever some preliminary investigation is done based on your proposed technique, we can communicate the paper to the conference, and when we do the rigorous experimentation, at that time the results are communicated to the journal. So if the conference or journal says that it is a 50-word abstract, then we have to put one sentence for each of these. So A will have one sentence, B will have one sentence, D and E will have one sentence. And if the abstract is allowed for 150 words, then each part will be explained by 3 to 4 sentences. Here, while writing the abstract, you have to note that the language should be simple, conciseness should be there. All small statements you should use concise statements, and it should be declarative form. The declarative sentence structure you have to use, and it should be in the present tense. Okay, so that is all about the abstract. Now we will move towards the structure of the paper after the abstract. So the first part in the structure of the paper is introduction. So what should be there in the introduction? Introduction is to include the basic facts needed to tune the reader to the paper. So in many cases it may be possible that the reader of the paper may not be expert in your field. So to tune the reader into your paper, first you need to give all the basic things regarding your research in the introduction. Okay, so we'll see one example. So this is the one sample paper. Here in introduction, of course the paper is same, that is the hybrid evolutionary approach. Here in introduction, this is related to data mining, so it discusses about the data mining. Then the decision trees, the basics of the decision trees are mentioned here. Why decision tree? Then what are the methods to handle the large data? They are mentioned in short here. Then why the size of the tree should be smaller, that is also mentioned here. And then the decision tree algorithm is mentioned here, how decision tree is constructed. Then the next topic explains about the genetic algorithm, as this is the evolutionary approach, how genetic algorithm works. So it gives basic facts about the genetic algorithm. And then the hybrid decision tree is mentioned here. Like this, the introduction section includes the basic fact needed to tune the reader with the paper, or it may be your presentation. So next point in the structure of the paper is the literature. So what is literature review? Literature review is a brief survey of major existing solution from the available literature, and it also contains the criticism of the existing solution with their advantages and disadvantages. So why we go for literature review? We have to underline the deficiencies of the existing techniques with respect to our research. Whatever is your research topic, you have to show that the current techniques have some deficiencies, and that's why we have to go for the new technique. And in other words, we can say that literature review helps us in identifying the gaps in the research. So whatever is the gap, after literature review you can find out the research gaps and you can work on those gaps. So there is scope for the research due to the research gaps found. So here it is mentioned that based on these deficiencies the problem statement is defined. So in other words, I explain it as finding out the research gap, and based on the research gap we can do the research, that is nothing but the problem statement. So how to write the literature review? So these are some of the guidelines. So we have to start the literature review with introduction to the research topic, and we have to do it with the major research topic, that is in the broader perspective we have to write. Then discuss the general importance of your topic in the field. So first you will write about your research topic, you will introduce your research topic, and you will write about the importance of your topic in your field. Then you have to use the studies in the literature review as a evidence that your research is an important one. So generally, whenever we are working on some research issue, we need to find out whether our research proposal is relevant or not. So the literature review gives evidence about the validity of our research problem or importance of the research problem on which we are working. So this is the evidence. Then next one is latest papers are more important. So you have to focus on the latest techniques used by the various researchers, because discussing about the techniques which were applied 4-5 years before, maybe 8 to 10 years before, is not required, and you have to discuss about the latest papers. Of course, few old papers in your area are also important. So by study you may understand that this paper may be old but is very important and I should include, and or in other words you can say you cannot exclude that paper from integrating it in the research review. Then you can add such a old paper also, and the best way to decide it is you can find out that if such a paper is cited by the maximum well-known researchers in that field, then it is very important paper and it must be included in our literature review. So organizing the literature review, general to specific. So first we have to discuss about the broad. It's like a funnel approach. You will discuss your research topic in broad and then you will narrow it to the specific topic. So literature review. After doing all these things, after reviewing the literature, summarize what has been done and what has not been done and what need to be done. So at the end of review, what you have to summarize: what has been done, what has not been done, and what needs to be done, so which will give you the further line for the research. To sum, a literature review should include introduction, summary, and critique of journal articles, justification for your research topic, and the hypothesis for your research project. Now, this is very important. The literature review will support you in justifying your research topic and the hypothesis. So hypothesis is nothing but the solution that you are going to apply to solve the problem. So it will help you in doing this. So literature review is what? Review will include the introduction, the summary of the techniques, and critique of the journal articles, and it will also justify the research topic and the hypothesis that you are going to use for your research. So what are the common errors made in literature review? So there are some common errors. Review is not logically organized. So the review must be logically organized. So for example, you may classify the different techniques to solve the problem. Like at some place the similarity measures may be used. So you have to club all the solutions using similarity measures as a one subsection. Then some soft computing techniques are used. So you have to club the methods at one point where GA, fuzzy, neural are used, and you can classify those. Like this, the logical sequencing should be there. Review is not focused on most important facets of the study. So review must focus on most important facets of the study. Review doesn't relate literature to study. So irrelevant topics are added in the literature review, so that is also a error. Too few references or outdated references, so you should have I think around 25 to 40 or maybe depending upon the conference 15 to 25 or 30 references should be there. For the this review paper you may have 50 to 100 references also, but for the research paper you may have 15 to 25 references, and they may not be the outdated references, but references should be based on the latest work done in our area. Review is not written in author's own words, so generally people have a tendency to write as it is from the any paper in the author's own words. It must be, you have to read the paper, and whatever conclusion you have drawn, those are to be written in your own words. So in the literature review you have to read the paper and write whatever is there in your own word and not copied or as it is. Review reads like a series of disjointed summaries. So review should be a continuous series. It should not be disjointed. Some point is there and afterwards there is no link and you have placed some point. It should not happen. All the points must be linked. Review doesn't argue a point. Review doesn't argue a point. So the review should be up to the proper points, and you have to critique, or you have to argue on the points. Recent references are omitted. So latest development is not included in the literature review. It is similar to the outdated references. So you need to take care of these errors while writing the literature review. So the next point is the plagiarism, and it is taken from the Galvin's paper. Not paper, it is a book actually, and I have given references at the end. Using another writer's words without proper citation. This is called a plagiarism. This is one type of plagiarism, using another writer's words without proper citation. So you need to cite everything. Here I have given that all sources used must be cited in the literature review. So from you may get some material from the book, from some site, from research paper, journal paper, conference paper. It must be cited, and the paper must be listed in the reference list. So there are two methods for citation. One method is like this. This 5 is indicating the number in the reference list. So this fifth paper in the number list is C. Labovitz. And another method is you can cite by using author's name and the year of publication. So both methods according to the journal requirement you have to use. So both methods I have shown here with the example. Okay, so we'll go back to our point. So using author's ideas without proper citation, citing source but reproducing exact word without quotation marks. So as discussed earlier, you have to write in your own words. You cannot use the original author's words. But in some cases you cannot write in your own word, or the statement given in that research paper is so important that you want to use the exact words. In that case, what you can do is you can put those words in the double quotes. So whenever you have to reproduce the exact words of the author of the research paper while writing the literature review, what you have to do? Put the words in the double quotes. so that will not be considered as a plagiarism. Of course, you have to cite and you have to mention that this and this author has mentioned that, and in double quotes his words. Borrowing the structure of another author. So many times people tend to use the ready-made diagrams. The diagram may be so complicated, so the research scholars don't want to write, so draw the diagrams, so they just copy the diagram someplace from someplace. It is not allowed. Actually, it is copyrighted material, and without the permission of the author you cannot use the images from any paper or any reference source. So you need to get the permission, or you need to redraw the diagram in your own fashion, then and then only it is accepted, otherwise it is called plagiarism. Then borrowing all or part of another student's paper or author's paper, that is also a plagiarism. Using a paper writing service or having friend, okay, that is also plagiarism. So you have to write on your own. So structure of the paper, the point is references, how to write the references. So we have already seen. So you have to write the reference like this. First the name of the authors, comma, and then the title of the paper, and then the conference proceeding or journal name, and the year of publication, and you can write the page number. So the different journals have different style. Accordingly you have to manage this. So if you are writing the paper in the Microsoft Word format, then you can use the table to add the references, and then you can hide the table, that is the borders, because if you will not use the table, then this and these things get intermixed, and then it becomes very difficult to do the setting. If you will use the table, then this number, reference number, and this reference, they are separated nicely, and the presentation in the paper becomes quite good, and it takes less time also for the setting. If you are using LaTeX, then use of bibliographic databases is good, because even if you will change the sequence, you are not supposed to sequence of the papers, automatically the numbering will be changed in the LaTeX. So citation and the citation number will change automatically. Now next part is the proposed solution. So you have to write what is the proposed solution. In our example, the proposed solution is application of the evolutionary technique along with the traditional decision tree technique. So that is the proposed solution. Why it is expected to be better? So as discussed earlier, you have to write that the local search method and the global search method. So the decision tree is performing local search, whereas when the genetic algorithm is hybridized with the or integrated with the decision tree, it will perform the global search, and due to the global search we want optimal decision tree, and the global search is expected to give the optimal decision trees that we have to mention here. Logical discussion, next point is logical discussion about expected benefits from the idea. So due to this idea, in our example, due to this idea, expected benefits are like the CPU and the memory load will be reduced, and the size of the tree will be reduced. As the size of the tree is reduced, it becomes comprehensible to the human experts, because the decision trees are to be used by the human experts for the decision making process. So that is a expected benefit from the idea. Now again, plus you have to write the proposed algorithm. So you will write the algorithm, and you have to write the data flow diagrams also if required. So that is all about the proposed solution. So you will write the proposed solution after the literature review. Conditions and assumptions. To summarize, the research experimental environment is useful for reader if itemized. So what should be the items, that is which system equipment you are going to use, if you are using any software, which software you are going to use, what is the architecture of the system, the design of the system, and technological issues are to be mentioned in the conditions and assumptions. And these conditions and assumptions are useful in analysis section also, because after performing the experimentation we have to do the analysis. So what results we have got and why we are getting the results. Now if the conditions and assumptions are given, then the results are comparable, which are conducted in the same conditions. For example, if the IC engine is tested at the different temperatures, that is the surrounding temperatures, then its performance will vary. So if you are testing the engine in Siberia and if you are testing the engine in the some desert area of India, then both performances you cannot compare, as the environments, that is the parameters for the comparison, are different. Next point is method of experimentation and result. So this section gives details about how research experiment is actually carried out, some parameter setting, and what are the performance measure that is to be mentioned. So we'll see one example. Here, method of experimentation, you can see the method of experimentation, which data sets are used and from where these data sets are taken, that has been mentioned. Then the different tools used for the experimentation like VECA and GLib, and then how the data is sampled, that has been mentioned here. And the parameter setting is also shown. So the crossover probability and mutation rate and the number of generations and size X factor for the genetic algorithm, these parameters are set here. That is also mentioned in the method of experimentation. Then the performance parameters are mentioned here, like a classification accuracy and the size of the tree. These are the two performance measures. And the method of experimentation here, the k-fold cross validation is used, that is also mentioned. So like this you have to write in the method of experimentation. So method of experimentation details about how research experiment is carried out, some parameter setting, and what are the performance measure. That is mentioned in the method of experimentation. This is very detailed. Everything about the experiment is to be mentioned. Analysis of the results. So after performing the experiment, whatever results we get, those results are observed and analyzed. And this analysis of section is very important part of your paper. If performance is better as compared to the existing method, you have to justify why it is better as compared to existing solution. So as per our example, if the hybrid method, evolutionary hybrid method, will give good result as compared to the traditional or existing, then we have to justify that we have applied the genetic algorithm for global search method, which executes for the global search for the optimal solution, and that's why we have to justify why we have got the good results by applying the evolutionary method or the genetic algorithm. Now next point is simulation analysis. So one method is a method of experimentation and analysis of results. So these are the actual experimental results, whereas in some cases you cannot perform the actual experiments, but the similar environment can be created on the computer and you can do the simulation. So simulational analysis can also be done. So the simulation analysis is nothing but the simulation analysis shows the simulated performance. Now many times what happens, first the simulation is done and then the actual experiment is performed, but in some cases it is not possible to do the actual experimentation. So in some research only simulation is possible and simulation is done. So in that case simulational analysis is presented instead of the experimental analysis. Now here, as per my experience, I'm providing some suggestions for the research scholars which are new in this field. So you have to be cautious about your claims. So many times the research scholars claim that I have got 20% improvement, 30% improvement in the performance, and many times it is not possible to get the improvement like this. Maybe you may get 2%, 5%, 10, maybe 15% improvement, but such a large improvement is never possible. I cannot say never possible, but it is very difficult to get, and so you should not make claims like this. And if you are making claim like this, I think you must think on your experiment once again. Another thing is report negative results also. So this is one part of the ethics in research. Many times what happens, the research scholars do not report the negative results. They simply remove the test cases having the negative results, but that is not the case. You can also report the negative results, and when you will have some good results and some negative results, in average you can negate the effect of negative, or the effect of the negative becomes null. So of course it is not null, but if you are getting 10% improvement in the performance, and whereas minus 2% negative performance is also there, so 10 plus 2, and that will be averaged. So but the negative results must be available in the result table. So you have to follow the ethics in the research. Next suggestion is don't use bold words like our method is best. So you can mention that we could found slightly better method as compared to previous one, and like that. Researchers are not supposed to use the words like ours is the best. Again, one more issue is there. We design some method and we contribute to the technology, but our method is we search all on the internet whether such a technique is proposed by someone or not, and if we do not find, then we claim on such a techniques. But while claiming also we need to take care that we should mention that as per our knowledge no one has used this method, and that's why we are claiming that it is our method, because it may be possible that you may not get the particular paper online and someone has already proposed such a method. In that case it may become a troublesome for you, so you need to take care and you have to mention that as per my knowledge no one has used this method, and that's why I am claiming on this. Next point is do not use ready copyrighted images. This we have already discussed, I think, in the plagiarism issue. So don't use the ready-made or copyrighted images. It is an infringement of the copyright law, so you should not do like this. And if you want to use such images, then you should get permission, written permission from the author to use in your paper, and you can mention that with permission from the author you are using this. Use small statement. So as mentioned earlier in the literature review also, the statement should be concise. Generally we used to make big statements, and then it becomes quite confusing. We are not native English speakers, so it's a problem for us to write something, and although grammatically everything is correct, but the big statement, the meaning may not be clear. That's why you should have small statements, concise statements, and clear with meaning. So next suggestions. Now the questions arises for experimentation, which dataset I should use. So the best method is to find out which datasets are frequently used by the well-known researchers in our field. So whatever datasets are used by the well-known researchers in our area, we may go for those datasets. So the method to find out the datasets for experimentation is frequently used datasets by the maximum well-known researchers in our area. So we have to follow them. So we can use the available benchmark dataset. So the datasets are available on the various data repositories, and you can download it. Otherwise, if the data is not available, what you have to do is you need to request the researcher for the dataset. And if you will request the researcher that such and such a dataset is not available and it is needed for your research, then and again you have to ensure that that will be used for the research purpose only and not for any commercial purpose. Then the researcher will provide it to you. The next point is use of multiple benchmark dataset for experimentation to strengthen the claims. So generally this is useful for the research in the computer engineering or the electronics and instrumentation like branches. Of course may be applicable to mechanical and other departments also, where they use the datasets for training. You should use multiple datasets, and what I have mentioned here is use of multiple benchmark datasets for the experimentation. Minimum 5 datasets you have to use for the experimentation, and then you have to do the k-fold cross validation. What is k-fold cross validation? It is nothing but the repetition of the experiment with the different sample datasets. So when you perform the experiment on multiple dataset, then your claim is a strong claim. Otherwise, if you will perform the experiment on one dataset and your performance is improved and you will claim that your method is very good, it is not acceptable. So you need to perform on minimum 5 datasets. Maximum 10 to 20 datasets may be used for the experimentation to strengthen your claim. So next point is redundancy. Repetition of trials in the research is a must. So you cannot do one experiment and claim that your method is best, because the repetition is required in the research. The multiple trials are taken, and then only we can accept, or the people will accept our results. So results must be average of multiple runs, you can say. And the example given here is the medicine testing. Currently the peoples are in search of the vaccine for the corona, and the test will be taken on thousands of patients of different types, and then only the results will be considered. So the redundancy or repetition of the trials in the research is must. So while doing the experimentation, you need to consider this, that you will repeat the trial multiple times, and whatever result you will get on the various performance measure. Suppose if 5 trials are taken, then you have to average the result for the 5 trials. Then in the structure of the paper, the last point is conclusion. So 3 major elements are required in the conclusion. Revisiting the problem. So you have to visit the problem. So in our example, what was the problem? Handling the large data set and optimizing the size of the decision tree, or building the optimal sized decision tree is the problem statement. And revisiting the major contribution from the performance complexity point of view. So you have to write what is your performance achieved here, and complexity, again you have to write about the complexities, like the time complexity or the space complexity you can mention. Stating who will benefit from the presented result. So you have to state who is the beneficiary of the research. And again you have to mention what are the newly open problems and research avenues. So that is also to be mentioned in the conclusion. So one should keep in mind that some people read only abstract and conclusion. So accordingly you have to write the conclusion. So conclusion is nothing but whatever you have written in the paper, that will be concluded here. So, and that is in the form of conclusion. So the remaining point is figure and table caption. So the title with the main highlight, that is main issue to be demonstrated by corresponding figure table. Reading only figure captions of the paper can substitute the first rough reading of the entire table. So the figure and table caption should be clear, what you are doing, what is available in your figure or table, that must be mentioned in the caption. Otherwise people give very small captions like comparison of the techniques. So it is not correct, but you have to, this is the sample example of the caption. This is the table showing result performance on various classifiers like J48, CART and GA tree, and this is showing the traditional method, this is showing the proposed method. Everywhere this is traditional, this is proposed, traditional, proposed, and this delta is showing the improvement acquired. So this is the basic method and this is the proposed method. So whatever the performance improved is mentioned here. So what should be the caption of the table? And you can see very big caption is given here. You should not be afraid to put the details here. So what is the caption? Comparison of classification accuracies obtained using multi-stage approach, using 2 stages, and the accuracies here is explained here. Conventional approach, this one, on J48 cart and GA tree classifier. So it is explaining about this. Table also presents enhancement in accuracies obtained delta XU. So this is the enhancement in accuracy. This was with the traditional method. This is with the proposed method. So this is the enhancement obtained in the accuracy. Same here and here. Classification performs obtained with the robust C4.5 is XR, and it is also compared. So one more technique which is similar to this is mentioned here, and the performance is also given here. It is compared with the performance on classifier J48 only. So these and these both are comparable because both are performed on the J48 classifier. This is performed on J48 classifier, and this is also performed on J48 classifier, and it is clearly mentioned that classification obtained with robust C4.5 is compared with performance of J48 only. In this table, short data names are used to save the space. So here, instead of Australia, this small name is given. Instead of breast cancer, this small name is given, and it is also mentioned in the title. So now with this example, you can understand how to put the title or the caption to the table or the figure. Now here we will discuss about some of the reviewer comments. Some examples are given about the reviewer comments. So once you finish your paper and you will send it to some journal, you will get the various reviewers comments. And what type of comment generally we receive, those are summarized here. The results are not compared with any alternative approach. Therefore, the effectiveness of the proposed approach is questionable. So how to solve this problem? They are saying that, say for example, what I have done, I have proposed one method, I have done the experimentation, and I have mentioned the result in one table, and I am claiming that my method is effective. Now it will not work. What I have to do is I have to find out the latest technique which are comparable to my technique to solve the same problem, and then I will get results in the same environment on those methods also, existing methods, and then I will compare the result of my method with the existing method. Then and then only I can claim about the effectiveness of my proposed technique, otherwise it is questionable. Okay. Miss the most current techniques, the state of art. Only 2 articles from 2018. So the current techniques are not mentioned in the literature review, and it is must. So only 2 papers are mentioned, and it is objected by the reviewers. Why X classifier is selected is not clear. So while selecting any tool or method, you have to mention that why you are using it. That must be mentioned in your paper. Next question is, next reviewer's comment is, why the proposed algorithm is innovative. You are claiming that our method is innovative, then how it is innovative, that you have to justify. The contribution of this paper is not clear. So next comment by the reviewer is, the contribution of this paper is not clear. So you have to clearly mention what technique was used earlier, which technique is proposed to solve the problem, and how it is effective and improves the performance parameter, and thus how it contributes to the technology that you have to mention. And thus this query by the reviewer can be complied, or if you will provide all this information in your paper before review, such a queries cannot be raised. Next point, seventh point, the authors claim that the improvement is significant, but they did not perform any statistical test. So you have performed some experimentation and you have got some result. You have the result on the, you have also experimented on the existing techniques also, and both results you have compared, and you are claiming that your results are better, improved than the existing method. In that case, you need to perform the statistical test. So how to perform the statistical test? So the parametric and non-parametric tests are there. So this website is available here. The statistical analysis tool stack is there. So we can put our data in the table, import the data through this, and it will justify or it will try to find out whether our method is correct or not, or the claim is correct or not, based on the normal distribution of the data on our result. So this is one of the methods. Then reviewers another comment generally for the peoples who are not native English speakers is, your English is not good. In that case, we have to refer the books like this: Science Research Writing for Non-Native Speakers of English. We are the non-native speakers of English, so we need such a book, and this book is available online also, or otherwise you can purchase the book, but the soft copy is available online. You can search and download. So the next point in the presentation is we have discussed about how to write the research paper, but the survey paper is not in the category of the research paper where the actual experiments are performed. In survey paper, what we are doing is just we study the different existing solutions available to the research problem that we are handling, and what are their criticism, advantages, pros and cons that we mention here. So how to write the survey paper in very short, it has been explained. In case of survey paper, major requirements is to have the concept part and system part. So what is there in the concept part? So for the survey paper, what is the requirement? We should have concept part and we should have system part. So what is there in the concept part? So it defines the major issues and it also defines the basics. So that is part of the concept part. And system part, so system part to define various algorithms and implementation. So the system part defines the various algorithms, that is proposed solutions, not proposed solution, existing solutions, proposed solution by the different researchers, and now it has become the existing solution for our problem, and their implementation is mentioned in the system part. So the concept part should be preceded by classification concepts and classification of concepts, and the system part should be preceded by the classification of systems. So in other words, the concepts are to be classified, that is you can say, you can mention the hierarchy of the concepts and the classification of the systems. So whatever system, that is the existing solutions are there, we need to classify them. So each system in the system part should be described, explained using same template. So what will be there in the template? System part. System part is what? Various algorithms and implementation. So the each system part is to be explained using origin, environment, essence, advantages, drawbacks, relevant details, performance consideration, complexity considerations, conclusion, trends, etc. So the system part, each algorithm will be explained with the origin, environment, essence, advantages and drawbacks of that particular technique or algorithm, then the relevant details, performance consideration and complexity considerations of that technique and or the algorithm, and the conclusions also. So that is all about how to write a research paper, and these are the references. As stated earlier, I am thankful to these authors: Veljenko, Milunovic,